Welcome to Lesson 3, Context Analysis. Now, you're probably sat there thinking, I don't know where to start. I can't think of a context. What should I look at? There's so many things, or I can't think of anything. So this lesson is going to try and help you establish what area you would like to look into and how to maybe break down some of those contexts a little bit further, which will then help you with your analysis, which is in the next lesson. So this lesson's overview is deciding on a design context to work with, how to break down the context to develop some working ideas. The skills we're going to use from the question that I asked you at the end of the last video on design thinking is that to start with, we're going to use those divergent thinking skills. Also, we're going to cover where should this information go. In your sketchbook or notebook is where it should go, as this stage is very rough, it's very messy, and it's very informal. We haven't yet reached a solid idea or selection of ideas that we can use to start really moving forward with our projects. So deciding on a design context, the difficult part. You're starting from nothing and you're producing something spectacular is such a scary process. However, this is also the exciting part, as this is when you're discovering your new ideas and observing problems you could solve that you hadn't even thought of before. So, the steps to success for this. Now, this is how I would start when I'm looking at a design context. You might have your own way that works for you, or you might already have an idea which you're really inspired by that you want to explore further. This is also fine. This is just one way that you can help look at your contexts and also help you decide on what you should look into further. So, step 1, think of a word. So this word, if we look at the context from AS, would have been sustainability, outdoor activity, and flat pack. Okay, they're the words that we're thinking of right now. But for A2, remember you need to think of your own. So you can use the ones that are provided in this PowerPoint, or you can choose your own, as this will provide a starting point. Step 2, explore the word. Put the word in the center of your page, and then using a mind mapping technique that I'm going to show you, write down every word you associate. These are then going to be the design problems and context to investigate. Step 3, choose 3 of these words from your exploration to investigate further. You can now start the analysis of your design problem. Use the research methods that you know of to observe the problem. Start mind mapping using the 3-2-1 approach that I'm going to outline at the end of this video. So, let's get started. I'm now going to show you 4 different words and contexts that I've explored in this stage. Now you can view these in the PowerPoint individually later on, but I'm going to show you them in this video. So I'm going to look at isolation, dogs, sustainability, and comfort. These would be all part of your AO1 Identify and Design Possibilities. The first context that we're going to look at is the context of isolation. Now, we're all pretty much aware of what the word isolation means, but it can have lots of other meanings. Now, this is almost like playing the word association game. So I'm going to start developing my mind map, and I'm going to talk you through it so you can see where these ideas might generate from. Now, these are not the only ideas. There are so many more that you can have. This is just how I like to start my contexts. So I would start it off with writing my context in the middle of my page. Now I have this, I'm now going to play the word association game, and I'm going to try and think, without really thinking too much, all of the words that pop into my head when I think about the word isolation. context of isolation. Now, when I'm looking at these, I could then think, well, actually, some of these could be my design problems. So, for example, I could look at protection. So, in terms of protection as a design context, there are so many things that we could design that already exist or that don't exist to help protect us. We could protect our health, we could protect our home, we could protect our education, we could protect our cars, our property. So I'm then thinking, well, actually in protection, there's lots of different areas that I could look at to design something, even things like maybe protecting our food from going off or contamination. I could then also think of, well, actually, if I was staying at home, what things do I need when I'm staying at home? Okay, so this initial thought process of coming up with lots of different words that associate with that context is that first stage that you're going to go through to actually help you in deciding, well, what exactly is it that I am going to design? So this here becomes our first step. So these are lots of different problems that we could potentially solve. Okay, they could be solved by creative design solutions if we looked at them a little bit further. Now, from any of these words, we could very, very easily decide who. So you could easily create a target market or an end user from one of these words. You could also very easily create a what. You could come up with a creative solution to solve some of these problems. You could also consider where these problems might exist. You could also consider why we would need to solve some of these problems. You could then also consider what should a creative solution for one of these have, and also what could. So you've got your essential and your desirable issues. So this is your first step on creating a design problem for you to solve. Now from this, I might then want to go ahead and think, well, actually, which one do I like the best? So I might want to look at this hiding one. So I might want to look at this one because I quite like the idea of people hiding. So looking at dens and forts and hiding objects and things. I might also, I'm quite interested in the health context and also the self-care context. So from that, I've chosen 3 that I'm actually quite interested in. So this is what I will then look at for my next brainstorm. see how I started looking at these context words and actually breaking them down into something more tangible that I can use. These are now some other context starting points that you could choose from. Remember, you don't have to choose these. These are just words that I've thought of that I think could provide an interesting starting point to your project. So we've got privacy, isolation, health and well-being, sustainability, space, storage, travel, public event, sound, nature, culture, the ocean, elderly, education, technology, preservation, home, and structure. Now, you might be saying, well, why do I need to do this? Now, for example, if you take this word here of space, automatically, especially because I put a picture there of an astronaut, you'd probably be thinking of space, as in the planets, the moon, stars, NASA, rockets, spaceships, all of those sorts of things. However, space might not actually mean that to you. So from doing this word association brainstorm, space could be how much space does a person need? An area to provide storage for things, so a space to store items. Thinking back to the design thinking presentation lesson, that when you had the Tupperware lids and containers, finding a more innovative solution to use a space in your home more effectively. But the reason that we explore these words is because if I did just give you space and you started straight away with the word space, you would probably automatically think of the astronauts, NASA, and a rocket ship. So by doing this exploration of the word, it helps us, one, not only we won't all end up with the same projects and we won't all end up looking at the same theme to our projects, but it also helps us be a bit more creative and innovative with this area that we're looking at. So again, with the ocean, so if we just started with the word the ocean, you might have a boat, you might have a fish that live in the ocean, and you might have the colour palette of the ocean, and they might be things, so all of your projects might be thinking about the ocean or creating boats or using the blues and the scales, about fishing nets, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean that. It could be about plastic pollution in the waters, it could be about global warming. Okay, so there's lots more things that you can associate with these words. So now what? So you've chosen your 3 design problems from the contexts. So 3 words from that word association brainstorm that you're actually now going to look at. These can be words, they could be phrases, but it's just easier if they're words. Now it's time to start your deeper analysis. If I was you, I would get 3 sheets of paper, or if you're working on a tablet or a touchscreen device, you can open up Autodesk Sketchbook or any other drawing app that you can have on your devices. On the middle of each page, I would put right in the middle, I would write each context in the middle of each piece of paper. And then I would use the 3-2-1 method. The 3-2-1 method is using, first of all, you think of 3 places where this context would happen. So if you had space, it could be on a rocket ship, in your home, in your car. So there are 3 places where you would see this problem. Then from the where, you would then think of a target market or end user or a person that would be affected by this in each of those areas. So that's your 3 things. You then move on to what. So what problem does this person in this place have with this context? So for each of those wheres, you would think of 2 whats, so 2 problems. Then you would be thinking of 1 how. So 1, how would you solve this problem? So from each of those whats, you would come up with 1 how. which should lead you at the end to have 6 starting points that you could look into. Now, the more you explore this, the more ideas you will have. So if you just keep watching, I'm going to take you through an example of me looking at one of our contextual areas using this 3-2-1 method. Okay, so we're going to look at how to start analysing your context. Now you can do this with a 3-2-1 method that I'm going to take you through now so you can see an example and then apply it to your project. So we're starting with the context of comfort. Now we're going to write down our steps. So our steps are 3, where and who. Then we're going to move on to 2, well, what problems actually exist in this area. Then 1, how are you actually going to solve that problem? So you've got your 3, 2, 1. You've then got some extension activities, which is why, when, should, could, and then also more exploration of the 3-2-1 method. So let's take a start. So comfort, where, the home, at work, and travel. These are 3 places. Now who would be affected by this in the home? So a baby, in work, an office employee, and travel, a truck driver. Now these are just examples of a who that would be affected by this. Now we're going to think of what. Well, what problem would we encounter in the home with a baby? So maybe they're not comfortable or safe when playing with their toys. At work, an office employee, they're spending so much time at their desk, 8 hours plus sat at a computer. A truck driver has to sleep overnight in the truck. Now, this is just one potential problem, but we need 2. So a baby eating food in the home, an office employee with poor posture while sitting at their desk, and a truck driver who wants to watch TV in their truck. Now, how can I actually solve these problems? So a high chair, a playpen, a chair, an organiser, a multi-purpose entertainment system, or a pillow. Now you can see I've now got 6 different possible solutions that I could use to start off my project. These are 6 possible starting points. Now I could end here, but I sort of want more. I want to look into these into more detail. I want to analyse them a bit more. So this is where these extension activities come in. So let's have a look at these. So when would an office employee need a chair to improve their posture? Well, when they're sat at their desk. Why? To improve their health and well-being and also their productivity. This chair should consider anthropometric data, and it also should provide support. It could recline and it could be adjustable. Now let's look at the organiser. So when? Well, when they're sat at their desk. Why? To make sure that everything that they have is within arm's reach. It should be minimal space and not take up too much space on their desk, and it could come in a range of designs, maybe a modular storage solution. A baby eating food at food times, it makes a mess and it's hard to clean. So why? Because we want to teach them some table manners, but maybe also provide support. Okay, it could also provide some education, some play, or it could also be use it for transport, so maybe I want to take it elsewhere. Let's look at the more 3-2-1s. So at work I've got cleaners and students. What? Well, storage for the cleaning supplies and protection. How? PPE and an organiser. Students have problems with equipment and maybe their timetable. How can I solve it? A pencil case or an app. So you can now easily see how more and more ideas are generated, and you just keep doing this. You just keep on going until you have the light bulb moment. Okay, that innovation and creativity which is coming through where I've got a new idea, and this is the start of your discovery. So good luck with yours. Keep watching for more videos and more examples of how to explore your context. Okay, so you've now done your 3-2-1 method. You've used the approach of popping your context in the middle of the page. You've understood that at this stage, no idea is a bad idea. The simplest idea might be the start of something spectacular. You might not like your word association and you might want to start with the original word. That's fine as well, but at least you've shown the examiner that you've explored different possibilities and different areas and different meanings of this word. So, as a reminder, 3 places where the problem would exist and who would encounter the problem, 2 ideas of what the problem could be, and 1 reason of how you're going to solve the problem. Now, B grade learners will further extend the brainstorm with reasons why. They might also consider when this problem might occur. So even if you're looking at where is the home, well, actually when this person's in the home, when will this actually happen? A grade learners will add further analysis of where, who, what and how, and then they would also add more of this 3-2-1 process to generate even more ideas. The more ideas, the better. Remember, AO1, identify and design possibilities. At the end of this process, you should have 3 possible design briefs. Now, this is when you can start your feasibility study. Type these 3 sentences onto the first page of your feasibility study document. Then your next step will be some initial research to help with your decision making. I recommend that if you've got a problem in the home, that you start observing the people in your household encountering this problem. Or you might want to go on your daily exercise and actually wander around and take photographs and observe it in action, staying at a safe distance, of course. I also recommend putting together some form of primary research, whether that is a questionnaire or a survey that you can send out online, a poll that you want to put on your social media story, or even a focus group or interview which can be done via video call or with somebody in your household. These initial steps will help you further your understanding of your design problem and also help you with your SWOT analysis and your decision matrix. Good luck, guys!
So, it's time to get your pen, your paper, your pencils, a creative space, and just allow yourself to really take control of that divergent thinking skills and explore so many ideas and solutions. If you come up with something, go and observe it, try and do some research, just really get excited, and you never know what you're going to come up with. I'm really excited to see what you come up with. I'm hoping to be inspired. I know you're all going to amaze me, so good luck.